All right, here we go. Taking it on its first long shakedown run. I'm gonna go visit some friends about an hour and a half away and really get some road miles on this before I take it on the BDR this winter. If it can handle this, it's gonna be able to handle anything else I throw at it. So here we go, just cruising along. I'm back in the garage. I'm looking at the one issue I've run into on the JK now. I got just a slight transmission fluid leak from this fitting right here. So I tried fixing it, changed the O-ring, that didn't work. I'm gonna try popping that O-ring fitting out and sanding it just a little bit to flatten that out. Hopefully that's enough to seal it up. I got another brand new O-ring that I'll throw on, make sure it's all good and sealed. This is the only issue I've come across. Everything else, I drove it about 3-hour round trip and it worked flawlessly. So hopefully I can get this sorted real quick today. Not a big deal. I mean, you can see transmission fluid all the way down it. It's spraying it all the way underneath the vehicle, so that's going to be fun. I'll have to change this out, wash it up again, and hopefully that solves it. I'm going to also pop off the skid plate down here because that needs to be cleaned on top of it, and that'll help me just make sure that nothing is leaking along the way. For right now, I can drive without it, and I'll just throw it back on before we head anywhere. So I took it apart, and it looks like the fitting, let it focus on that. Looks like the fitting is bottoming out in the oil cooler. You can see that silver section right there. So that's all it's doing. It's not allowing the O-ring to actually seal. So I took this other one off and it was barely any mark on it, but there was a little mark on that yet. So I'm just going to put the O-ring back on. I'll tighten it down even harder. Hopefully that solves it. I might file this last little thread a little bit just to get it to seat in there a little bit more, but I think it was just holding it out because I mean these are an O-ring fitting. You don't want to crank on them too much, but you need it to actually still seal. So I think first of all I'm going to file that thread a little bit and then I'll put it back together, and it honestly tightening it down a little bit more should be all it needs. All right, so here it is. Focus, if it will. So I just filed down that last little thread real quick. I'm going to throw the O-ring back on it and see if that seals up now. It should. All right, well, I got that tightened back up. I ran it for a little bit. I'm not seeing a leak at all. Only time will tell. I'll have to run it down the road for a while because it really didn't pop up until I drove it on the highway. So I'm gonna leave it like that for now and test drive it for a little bit, see if it gets some tranny fluid leaking out a little bit. Another thing I'm gonna fix today, pretty minor, but I got some pretty observant friends. Had a friend point out this bolt thinking it wasn't tight. Well, it's tight, it's just a little too long. So I had the correct bolt just in my storage unit in the box of parts. So I'm going to change that out today, get that finalized, and then move this thing out and start working on another vehicle. All right, Saturday night, I'm back out in the garage here. I'm just doing some basic maintenance. Right now, I have the LJ in the garage. I just have to do a quick oil change on this, and this one will be ready to keep driving. Alright, so one thing I like to do is cut my filters apart and see what it looks like inside. That's kind of why I have this tear down table. That all looks good. And I look inside to make sure there's no glitter. This one looks good, so this right here gives you a really good indication of what the health of the engine. If you start seeing anything glittery, then you got problems inside your engine. The one thing I am looking at here is this is an absolute garbage oil filter. So the typical quick lube places, this is what you get. It's all paper. At least this is decent. The little bypass valve is all metal, but the filter itself surrounded in cardboard. If you cut apart a good one like a K&N, a Wix, and a Napa Gold, all three of those filters they're all produced pretty much the same. I don't know if they're the same factory or what, but you tear them apart, they all look the same inside. If you're gonna get an oil filter, those are the three I would pick. So a K&N, a Wix, or a Napa Gold. They're all really good. The Fram are garbage. This one here is a Valvoline. A little bit better than a Fram, but still wouldn't go with it. Glad I'm just doing this myself. So. But overall, looks good inside. So I have a K&N that I'm gonna put in it. I'm gonna let it drain out a little bit more. Then I'll get that put in it and finish this up. So one more thing you wanna do when you're changing your oil is you always wanna oil the O-ring on here. Otherwise, it ends up sticking and it's a real pain to get off. Just putting a little bit of oil around the seal solves all your issues. It doesn't take much. That's all I end up doing. Then I hand tighten it on and you're good to go. All right, that's it. Oil change is done. I know it's not very exciting, but sometimes this is all you end up working on out in the garage on a Saturday night. One thing, I'm looking at this thing, and these old engines, I mean, this inline 6 runs good, but man, does it just have oil everywhere. Underneath, there's just oil all over it, all over the skid plate, everything. That's why I can't wait until I can throw this engine into that Jeep. I'm a firm believer, best way to fix any Jeep engine is to stick an LS in it. I just got done doing that with the JK. I plan on doing it with the LJ here as well, eventually. I have another 4L80. This one's a 5.3. So it'll be a 5.3 4L80 combination, and I'll stick probably an Atlas in this thing for sure. Looking forward to doing that just so I don't need to deal with all this grime everywhere. They just get coated. Old technology, the engines never seal right. That's why I really moved away from the small blocks in the old Chevys. They always leaked like a sieve. The LS engines are so much more sealed, and honestly, I can't think of any reason to stick with an old small block compared to an LS. They make more power, they're stronger engines, they don't leak oil, so I end up switching on everything. I have one in my 84. That truck, I can't wait to actually drive it. It runs, I got the engine running, but I don't have any drive shafts, and I'm not gonna run around with a Bluetooth drive shaft like everybody does at SEMA. So then I just got done with the 2008 JK. That thing's been running really good. I ended up pulling it apart and looking at it while it was leaking transmission fluid. Turns out it looks like the threads were just bottoming out in my oil cooler. I just filed the last thread a little bit, tightened it down a little bit harder, and drove it a bit. It's not leaking. Only time's gonna tell if that still has a leak. Hopefully that solved it, because that's a really simple fix. But for now, I'm gonna finish cleaning up for the oil change and get this moved out and then look at the next project. I'm back out in my garage today doing a little bit of a general maintenance to my truck. Changing the oil, that's almost done. Other thing I need to do is I need to change my idler arm for the steering. The one that's in there is starting to get sloppy. I got a little bit of play in the steering wheel. I have a new pitman arm as well, but that doesn't seem to be too bad, and that looks like it's a nightmare to change. So for sure I want to get this idler arm changed, because that's where all my play is coming. So I'm gonna hop under here and try and pop this thing out. I got the nut off. Now I just need to go and beat on it with a hammer a little bit and trying to get my tie rod to pop loose real quick. And then I just got 2 more bolts to pop out and the whole thing will come out. Should be pretty simple. It is kind of packed in there, but I'm gonna get under there and take that out. All right, usually you can just come in and tap on the side of it with a hammer. But seeing as this is an independent front suspension truck, it's not easy to get in there. So I just had to grab pickle fork, hit it a couple times and it popped right off. So having the right tool makes it handy. This made real short work of it. A couple hits and it popped right off. So now I got to get the 2 bolts off to hold it in, and the whole thing will drop right out. So this should be a pretty quick change actually. All right, well, here it is. Got the old one out. New one ready to go in. Can't really see, I can't show it on camera, but there is a little bit of play in the little ball joint in the end. Can't really feel much up here, but there's probably a little bit there as well. If this is starting to go, I'm sure this is starting to go. This is a weak link on the IFS trucks. So changing this out. Granted, the truck does have 200,000 miles on it. It's a tar baby. I don't take this one off-road at all. It just hauls things. So overall, this gets taken care of. This doesn't get beat on. So for 200,000 miles, I'd say that's pretty darn good. So now I'm just going to throw the new one back up in there. Got to fish it in a little bit. It's a tight space. And then tighten everything down and I'll be done with this. For now, I'm not going to change the other side. I'll do that later when I have a little bit more time. I really didn't even expect to do this, but getting this in is going to help keep my tires from wearing out. Right now they're wearing a little funny because there is a little bit of slop in the steering wheel. So get this put in. It should help that. All right, I got that all swapped out. Last thing I need to do is just reset my oil monitor in the truck, and this is buttoned up for now. I'll see how this drives with just replacing that side. Hopefully it's good enough for now, because I really don't want to dig into changing this pitman arm. This is going to be a real pain. It looks like I got to take the whole steering box off, and I don't really want to do that. But for now, I'm going to consider this one done, test drive it for a little while and see what it does.